Today, we're going to talk about masks. Masks. Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Grace, and if you're new here, I make home and sewing DIYs to help you be a little bit more sustainable in the everyday. Today, we're going to talk about masks. I know I'm a bit late to the ball game, but since different states are putting a general mask order in place and are starting to shut down again, I thought this might be a little bit topical. I've seen a lot of methods for constructing these things, but what I haven't seen is a tutorial that shows you an easy method for inserting the wire into the nose piece for a better fit. Having been wearing masks since March now, I'd say it makes a pretty big difference on comfort and fit and just how effective it is. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, let's talk about fabric. I'm just using a normal everyday quilting cotton. You can get it at your local Joann's. I've also seen people use lightweight cotton canvas, bed sheets, or old cotton pillowcases. As long as it's 100% cotton and tightly woven, it's totally fine. Now, what you want to avoid is something more loosely woven, such as flannel or linen. They just don't provide enough protection for this purpose. Here, I'm just clipping the pieces right sides together. I'm not clipping the filter pouch pieces together yet because I have to sew the seam allowance down first at 1/8 of an inch. Now all the center seams can be sewn at 1/4 of an inch. I need to clip the seam allowance on just the filter pouch to help it lay a little bit better in the center. Finger press because I'm lazy. Then lay over top of one of the layers, wrong side to right side, and zhuzh the seam allowance so that it fits snugly together. Clip around the rest of the mask. I like to use clips. You can use pins. I just find clips are a little bit easier to work with. Now take your last piece and place it right sides together on the other two. Continue clipping the way that we did before. This is where it gets a little tricky. It's a lot easier if you make sure to just nest your seams and feel them pushing together. Sew along the top and bottom of the mask, leaving the sides completely open. You're going to need 2 pieces of floral wire here. I normally cut mine to 5.5 inches, unless I'm doing a child-sized mask, in which case I normally do mine at 4.5 inches. your two wires are twisted together, make sure to bend both ends down and clamp them until they are smooth, since you don't want any bits sticking out that could catch on the fabric later. Once your mask is flipped inside out, you're going to want to push out all the sides and make sure your seams are laying the correct way. Pay no attention to my ratty old paintbrush. Alright, now it's time for ironing. So this can get a bit tricky. The trick is to use your fingernails to pull the seams as close to the outside as possible. That will give you a really nice, crisp finish. Now we need to top stitch the bottom edge of the freshly ironed mask. I'm just using 1/8 of an inch seam allowance once again. Fold the nose wire in half and place it against the top of the mask. Then mark out where the ends of the wire fall. These will get sewn down to hold the wire in place and stop it from moving around. When you get to the halfway point, stop and leave your needle down. This is where we're going to insert the wire. Insert the wire under the seam allowance on the top edge. It may take some wiggling around, but it should go into the channel you just created by top stitching. Once you've got it in, hold it against the very top of the mask and sew the rest of your top stitching down. Okay, pleats. You want to make sure the open side of the pleat is facing down to prevent any kind of particles from collecting in it. I make them 3/8 of an inch for all of my mask sizes. Take your elastic and shove it in one of the open sides as close to the seam allowance as possible. Then sew over it 3 times. Going through all the layers of the pleat can be a bit challenging, so I just use a flathead screwdriver to help me push it through. And we're done!